So today, one story, two lives. How do we turn personal experiences into public speeches and organizational blog? At the end of today, you are going to leave here with three things. The first is, yes, you are a storyteller already. You're going to be a greater storyteller. And then secondly, you should be able to capture one or two skills in public speaking. Write a simple blog that you can just develop and refine. And hopefully you can post on LinkedIn or any of your websites. And then lastly, we would review your social media pages. So to begin with, this is what you've already done. You've already done what is zero waste, what vulnerable voices are and how to protect them. You've gone through the sessions, story development. You've done how to use the app that Bisa has introduced to you. You've done the strategy, how to produce a very good strategy framework for storytelling, ethics in storytelling, how to go about branding, multimedia, and then the lovely session that happened yesterday. So now we want to explore the gap. How do we review what is existing, what we've already been doing? So it's very important that we reflect backwards. Let's look back to see, what have we been doing already? What are the practices we've been practicing? How can we write better and how can we speak better stories? So at the end of the day, I look forward to hearing the amazing stories that you will all share. Now, I want you to reflect with me. In the chat, kindly write a moment that you would never forget. Just a brief moment you never forget. I'm going to give you all 2 minutes to do that. 2 minutes. One moment in your life you never forget. It can be as a relation to your work. It can be as a relation to your personal life. But that just one moment you will never forget in your life. I look forward to the chat. Let's keep the responses coming. Let me see if we already have a response. Okay, someone raises their hand. I saw someone raise their hand. Can you go ahead? Malaz, please go ahead.
Hi.
Please, you can go ahead, Malaz.
One moment I will never forget was when I realized that listening to one woman's story could completely change the way I see my work. It reminds me that every story deserves to be heard and can inspire real change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. Can you please write that in the chat for me?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, I see another in the chat that says, okay, I'm trying to find the responses. Moment I never forget, a waste speaker was the day I realized that what the world called waste was actually feeding families, creating jobs, protecting the environment, standing at dump site before sunrise, surrounded by smoke, heavy trucks, and mountain of discarded materials. I watched fellow waste pickers work tirelessly to recover plastic, metal. And the moment I understood that we are not just collecting recyclables, we are quietly sustaining the circular economy. The experience changed my life and planted the vision that later became Blackcess. Okay, building leadership, advocacy, and climate knowledge for sustainable society. Awesome. Any other? Please, let's put that one moment that really resonated with us in the chat. Whilst we continue, I'll also share my one moment with you that you'll never forget. So So before we begin, I want to tell you a story. Three years ago, a lady who had been molested by an uncle from the age of 3 reached out to Bisa to cover her story. And when she reached out to us, she mentioned that she has strived to forget her past, but she has not been able to do it. And at the age of 30 years old, she wanted to do better for the society. So she wanted Bisa to cover her story. Bisa produced a film with her where she explained how she was molested. And this was published on Bisa's website. A few weeks after, an organization reached out to her to partner with her, and that was how the organization was able to send her from one school to another, touching on basic schools in Ghana, educating young female children on what molestation meant and how they should protect themselves, and they should always speak up. That didn't end. After a few months, she created an organization of hers, and now she currently works with the Ministry of Gender in Ghana here, circulating awareness about gender-based violence. And this, she has been able to use it to employ people and is now serving the society and creating awareness. I don't know what this story said to you, but every story must have a purpose, and every story must attract something to you at the end of the day. It could be visibility. The story that Bisa supported her to create gave her visibility. It could be advocacy. From that story production, she was able to engage with other organizations to create advocacy in the community. It could be funding. It could be policy influence. And you can imagine working with the ministry, it means that they are now supporting policy conversations when it comes to gender-based violence. What is your story inspiring? And today, I would want us to reflect on 5 impact pathways that Bisa support. According to our mantra, we decided that great stories should not just convey information, they should create impact. And so, when you are developing any story that you develop, have these 5 things in mind. At the end of the day, what do I want to achieve with my story? Do I want to create visibility? Do I want to advocate? Do I want to find money? Most of the time, we always want to find money as organizations, but are we positioned our story well enough for it to attract finances? And lastly, are we securing the support of the public, or are we changing behaviors? Let me tell you another story. 2020, I was a project coordinator for an NGO called the Grain Africa Youth Organization. I was asked to create a project that involved zero waste in communities. So what I had to do was walk into a municipal assembly to partner with the assembly. And in partnership, the municipal assembly was supposed to give us a dedicated land to situate the project. I wore the best outfit I could. I walked into the assembly and I asked the director, please, we would like to partner with you. At the end of the day, we're going to create around 100 jobs. We are going to divert over 270 waste from the landfills. We're going to support informal waste workers. What happened? The director looked at me and said, you're 22 years old, you're a female. What can you do? It struck me to the heart. But I went back that day and I kept on showing myself at that municipal assembly. Today, that is the biggest project that the organization has. And then in 2024, it won the Headshot Prize. The director now is my best.
Sorry, but you're muted. We can't hear you.
From this project, it speaks to us that how young people can be seen as not just being part of the society, but as change makers within the society. Therefore, this is a call to stakeholders, to ministries to support young people in the community. I have just told you a story, but but I've communicated something to you. And at the end of the day, I had a call to action. So this can be used on stages. This can also be written as a blog. And this is a true story I'm telling you. But I would like to hear from you what you think about this story and which part of this 5 impact pathways you saw this story sit in. Anyone, you can unmute and speak. What do you think about the story? And which part of the impact pathway do you think this resonated with more? There are no wrong answers, guys. Okay, Eman, please go ahead.
Good evening, Betty. I'm happy that you're participating for the first time with us. The session has been wonderful till now. Thank you so much. For me, what I've learned from this story is to never give up and to be aware about the obstacles that people put in your way, because this person saw you as a woman, as a young girl, so you're not going to be able to provide what the project requires. But on the other hand, you didn't give up, so you insisted on showing him that the obstacles he's trying to put in your way is not true, and that you can actually overcome it by hard work, by creating a structure inside your organization that can support doing the successful goal that the project is requiring, whichever it was. So thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you very much, Eman, for that. But there's a question you didn't respond. Which part of this impact pathway does this story fall in? We can choose one or multiple. Eman?
I'm with you, but I'm just taking time to choose from the screenshot inside us, in front of us. I do believe, first of all, advocacy, because you're trying to advocate more women to continue working, to continue exerting effort, and to not be influenced by the obstacles that people are trying to put in your way. Also, I do believe 4, which is policy influence, that we're trying to call for more people to change the policies that create gender-based violence toward women.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. Okay. I saw someone's hands up as well. I think Emmanuel. Was that Emmanuel? It was Black Sis. Okay, Black Sis, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Betty. My name is Bob Kennedy. I am a West speaker and founder of Black Sis community organization. From the story, clearly I've seen the part of visibility was clearly shown. That is what becomes seen because of this story. I mean, first of all, you're going to an office and you're talking about you want to support or to advocate for West speakers and for them to be helped in a project of something that is going to be big. Rather, it ended up being the biggest project in that facility. So there's visibility and advocacy, which clearly serves as a purpose of this story, according to what I've picked.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. I also saw someone says policy influence. Please, you can also drop your comment in the chat for us to have further engagement. So yes, it's okay. I see someone else hands up. Gloria, please go ahead. I can't see so much of the screen. Okay, Gloria, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Madam Betty. For me, it's visibility in regarding that you actually had a mind of making known a particular issue. It's something, an area of concern. If you were not bothered about it, you would not take the effort to even go in the first place. So you wanted people to be aware of what you were doing, and in that place you advocated for it. Even at the immediate, it didn't look like you were making headway, but at the end of the day, you were able to get funding for it. And that funding has led to further opportunities like policy influence and as well as public actions, because of what you have done, many people are being inspired to take action, to not just wait behind their seat or waiting for such opportunities to land on their laps. So you took the lead, and now many people, because of you, will take the lead. Thank you very much. So it's
awesome.
Everything on this list.
Thank you so much for that. But now I want to ask you guys a question. Imagine I didn't note down that little conversation between myself and the municipal director when he said, "You are 22 years old, you are a female, what can you do?" This is just to tell you something. The little things that happen in your life, in the journey you take, in everything you do, contributes to the biggest part of your story. Something could have happened yesterday, something could have happened today. You just ignore them, but you need to pay attention to this little detail, because those are the things that really create the stories that you want to tell. I'll tell you another story, but before we go ahead, I want you to just pick one of these 5 BISA impact pathway that you would want to tell your story on, and then we go ahead. Please, if anyone's hands are raised, I can't see you, so you can just put it in the chat, or the BISA team will notify me because I'm sharing my screen. Now, we've picked one of the BISA impact pathways. We've also asked ourselves, what is a moment that changed our life? I think Blacksess mentioned what changed his life was he was standing at a dam side with smoke all around him, with waste all around him. I'm imagining the story that can be told from that. So Blacksess, let's keep that memory and we'll continue. Now, let's go to building a story. How many of us, you can give me a thumbs up, how many of you have seen this document by BISA? Cha. A thumbs up. If you've not seen it, a thumbs down. How many of you have seen this document? A thumbs up.
I have seen it, but I've not engaged it.
Engage it. Okay. Any other? Surprisingly, I also can't see the thumbs ups. Okay. Okay, just one thumbs down. Okay, great. So this document is really inspiring because the name was birthed just from one of the speaker in the last session saying, storytelling to me is cha-cha-cha. And that was it. BISA just picked it, cha-cha-cha. Character, challenge, and change. And this is how we tell a story. I know the rest of the speakers have come to you with different formalities. They've told you some of the nitty-gritties to take into consideration. Oh, I see a comment in the chat. How can I reach the Arabic transcript? By Zoom. If I could just give you a little support. Okay, I think you can easily go to your transcription or translation section in your Zoom page. I think if you open your Zoom page, you'll see a section says translation, and then you click it and you turn it on. Have you gotten it? I hope this helps. So there's a section just below the screen. You can click it and it comes on. So I'll continue now. So when you look at this document, it gives you just a very simple modality of telling your story. That your story needs to have a character, your story needs to have a challenge, and then it ends with a change. So have these 3 in mind. So now we are going to build a story. Before we build the story, let me tell you a story, and the title of my story is 5 bottles of cough syrup in 3 months. 5 bottles of cough syrup in 3 months. In 2024, I returned from Germany because I did my master's there for 3 years. When I returned, I got cough and catarrh that just never ended. For first week, I went to get a cough syrup. The second week, I went for another cough syrup. The third, the fourth. For 2 months, I had taken around 7 bottles of cough syrup. And the third month, I still continued to take the bottle of cough syrup. I decided to visit the hospital. When I went to the doctor's appointment, he looked at me and said, "The air is different." I didn't understand what he meant. He was like, "You were in Germany for 3 years and you just returned. There's a lot of pollution here in Ghana. There's a lot of open burning here in Ghana. So the air is different." And then I asked myself, how long can we keep on adjusting to air pollution in our localities? Clean air should not be, should I say, a privilege. It should be a fundamental human right. In Ghana, everywhere, in every community you go to, there's open burning. Just a few weeks ago, I walked down my streets, and in front of a huge house, there was a hole that has been dug, and every day they keep on burning. This is a call to the government to implement policies that will support communities to change behaviors when it comes to open burning. This is a call to government to support communities with better waste management practices that would ensure that communities are safer and better. And lastly, in supporting communities, it helps us avert a lot of costs incurred from, should I even say, from a lot of flooding that happens when our wastes are not properly managed. And this is a call to communities for better behavioral change when it comes to properly managing our waste. If I tell you this story, what do you think about the story? Where do you see the character? Where do you see the challenge? And where do you see the change? Open to hear what you think. Today is we are going to do a lot of storytelling. Where do you see the character? Where do you see the challenge? And where do you see the change? Please, you can unmute and speak. Anyone? Please, if you don't talk, I won't continue.
Rana is already raising her hand.
Okay, Rana, please go ahead. Thank you. Thank you for assisting me with that.
Thank you. Okay. So the character is seeing in your own story. It's your own story. It's a real story from the ground. The challenge is like the pollution, the air pollution, because of not good or waste management strategy that's affecting your current country. And the challenge can be seen from the comparison between Germany and your country. And the change here, you start telling your story and reporting this and its impact on your health, and that this should be that the government should take better decision to do to manage waste. So here is a change you're asking for, reformation and transformation of the current situation in your country.
Thank you for that. Thank you really for that. Any other hands? I've gotten another screen now, so I can see hands if you are raised. If you don't talk, I'm going to call your name this time. So I'll open my screen and call names.
I'll go. This is Blacksis.
Okay, Black says, go ahead.
Okay. As Rana just said, I agree with her. The character can see the first person is you in that character, and the challenge that we're facing right here is air pollution, whereby we can hear there's talk about open burning, which is bad due to greenhouse gas emissions. Under which the challenges that we are facing there, it's open burning, and the changes that we are aiming for, it's for reduction of them and controlled environment whereby we can have clean air. As you said, it is not, or it should not be like what was the term again?
A privilege. It should be.
yeah, that's more side.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other hands? Okay, so here I want you to also reflect on the little stories. The last slide I shared with you, that it's very difficult to capture those moments that really makes the story feel genuine. And you can imagine how I thought about cough, me having cough and using it to create a story that creates an impact or informs an audience. So those are the things I want you to take in mind for the next session now. And in that story, there are three things that also was captured. It was whom, which was, yes, myself, but I also took it to the community, where in the story, it's very important that you highlight where that thing happened. I mentioned I was in Germany, then I mentioned I moved to Ghana. And then what exactly are you talking about should be very clear in your story. And here, we all agree with me that is air pollution I was discussing. Now let's go to the next slide, our first exercise. If you have a book beside you, if you want to use the chat, you can also use the chat. And we are going to develop a story. So at the second to third exercise, you'll be put in a breakout session, 2 in 1 breakout session, to come up with this story. Now we've understood the 5 BISA impact pathways that says a story is not just a story, it should create an impact. So either policy, advocacy, visibility, funding, etc. Now, what are the types of stories that you can tell? According to BISA, we have 4 different types of storytelling formats. The first is the personal narrative. And from all the stories I've told you, I use the personal narrative to convey my information to you. The second is project-based organizational storytelling. And this is where we talk about the we. I'm happy to share an example of this of this story with you. If you go on our LinkedIn page, you'll see a story on pollution from the mother's breast milk. I don't know how many of you have seen that story, but it's a very interesting blog article. So the we, there's another, and I know that this is one area that you are very, very interested in, on how to give a blog from the organizational perspective. I'm happy to share that with you. Okay, so the we, the organizational perspective. So here you tell the story from the we aspect. I'll share with you a typical example. Let me just quickly open a very good example for you to see.
Please, Betty, can I ask a question before you move?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so the story you told us about the cough and you going to Germany, is it something you made up or it actually happened? Because the way you said it, it looked like something that actually happened, and somehow again it looked like you were, when you were now talking, you were now making me like I was trying to understand. Is it that it's something you made up just to pass a message across? So let me understand how storytelling goes. That is it that you make up something just to pass your information, or it must actually happen? Thank you.
You've asked a 2-in-1 question. So first of all, it wasn't a made-up story, it was a real story. And that's why I said you need to think about unimaginable things to tell stories. For me, I have embraced being a storyteller, and this is a secret. So I have on my phone a notepad where anything that happens, I write it down. For example, my husband looks at me and say, "You're the best thing that has happened to me." I write it down. My husband said it on this day, I'm the best thing that happened to him. And the next time I'm talking to someone, I say, "On this day, my husband said I'm the best thing that happened to me." And I used to create a story. It would amaze you. I can take my phone and show you different things I've written. We go to the market, I see a woman who does something, I write it down. Tomorrow I create a story from it. So the thing is that I have projected that I would need it, and I write it down. And the second thing you asked is, can you create something? Yes, it's good to also be innovative. It's good for you to create. Sometimes in storytelling, you need to add and subtract. There's some information that's in that story that you don't need at that particular time. I've told a lot of stories. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I tell lots of stories. Just recently, I was at London Climate Week, and I started my blog with when the weather was the opening speaker. And I started the blog by narrating how I packed my clothes and packed light clothing. And then just a few days I went to church, and my pastor looked at me and said, "Hey, I saw your blog, I saw your post, and I saw that the heat in London was so much and you packed light clothing." I don't think he saw that just because he saw that, but he was captivated because of the packed light clothing. It's unexpected. And that's what really gives a heart to your story. The little basic things that people would not really pay attention to. I hope I responded to that. Does that work, Gloria?
Yes, thank you. So from what you've said, two things happens in storytelling. It's either the situation happened, or you actually made it up just to drive a point to the message you want to achieve at that moment, right?
It happens, yes, 50-50. It does. But my stories are very real. I just want to make that very clear.
Well taken. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other question? Question, comments in the chat. Okay, I see some 6 chats. Let me see what those chats are saying. Okay. So I was once embarrassed in school assembly that I stole 80 shillings from my classmate, who was a lady, of which I didn't. Till today, I have never forgotten that. I couldn't explain myself because I was afraid. What story can we tell with this? John, I see this. So can you tell me, so you are saying that you did not steal this money, but someone said you stole this money. John, do you want to explain? Because I see there is a typo error here.
Okay, my name is John Smith from Green and Seed Initiative. We are located in Kwale County in Kenya. So at that time, I was around and I was in class 7. Yeah. So there was a lady who came and claimed that there's some money she has lost in class. So at that time, I had my own money because during that day we are supposed to go for a sports event, for a sports activity. So when they started searching, they came and they told me that they found me with the money. And before that, there was because here in Kenya we have a 50 shilling note. Then the other 30 shillings, they were in coin form. So before that, they were claiming that they only had coins. But because they found out that I had 80 shillings, they said that it was theirs. Now they turned the tables. They said that, yeah, it was ours. We had a 50 shilling note, and the other ones, they were coins. And before that, they said that they were only cons. So I tried to explain myself to the teacher, but he didn't listen to me. So they took the money back to them. Then during the assembly, the teacher called me and embarrassed me there and said that there's a certain guy here named John took some shilling from a certain lady, and these are a behavior that we are not supposed to tolerate in this school. So I was so embarrassed during that day, and I think I wasn't. I didn't have that courage to explain myself or to prove myself that this man was mine. I just let it go. So during that day, till now, I always feel that day it was so bad for me. That's how it was. Yeah.
It's a very interesting story and a life-touching story. It can be bent to really tell a bigger story on a stage, if I wouldn't lie to you. Because what I see from this story is about opening up and speaking up. Now imagine yourself on the stage. You started by saying that at the age of, I don't know what age you were, at the age of 10, I was embarrassed in class for stealing 80 shillings. But today I stand on this stage to talk about this. And then at the end, people will be asking themselves, did you steal the money? And then at the ending of your statement, you say, surprisingly, I didn't steal that money. I had an 80 shillings in my wallet that people took. So sometimes it could even serve as opening hook to what you want to say. By the end of the day, your topic should be around opening up in conversations. Maybe you want to talk about some waste picker work you are doing in your community that involved you speaking up about what the government is doing or what the landfill has been, how the landfill has been impacting your life, and you never spoke about it. But then that situation from your classroom have inspired you to always come forth on activities or on situations where you find yourself. I don't know if you get me, but this is how you can creatively twist moments to fit your statement. I see the second one says, one moment I never forget was when I realized that listening to one woman's story could completely change the way I see my work. It reminded me that every story deserves to be heard and can inspire real change. This is cool. I see here where you are referring to one woman's story. I don't know what story it is, but you need to go down to that story. What did that woman say? And use that story to coin the story you want to tell. I see Emman's hands up. I'll come to you, Malaz, but Emman, do you want to go ahead before I continue?
Thank you for giving me the floor, Betsy, and thank you, John, for sharing us the story. I thought about a format that we can represent the story, which is John's story. So again, I'm sorry to comment on his personal story. I thought it's gonna be great if we use the format of before and after, like creating the whole idea of before, when I was a child and I was accused of stealing 18 shillings. I was a person who is embarrassed to fight for my own reputation and to fight for people who try to charge me with things. But after I grew up, I changed it to a person who's trying to fight for more rights for people and for more rights for me and to fight for the reputation of other people. So the format of before and after, how I changed through growing up from a child who couldn't fight for my own self to a grown-up person who would fight for other people's rights. For example, what we're doing here, we're fighting for societies through zero waste. I do believe it's gonna create an impact when someone hears the story.
Awesome. This is awesome. Before and after.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So I don't know, someone else's hands are up, or I just see some comments. Where are they? Okay. No comments? The PowerPoint, no? Okay. I don't see any comment again. So I'll just continue now I wanted to show you the organizational storytelling format. Here it says, what if the cost of burning waste shows up in breast milk? What do you think about this topic? What do you think about this topic? This is the BISAS newsletter on LinkedIn. What do you think about this topic? Anyone can unmute and speak. What if the cost of burning waste shows up in breast milk? You say, awesome. Okay. Anyone, please come on, guys. Let's feel free. We have a whole. I would have said we had a whole 1 hour, because now we have like 10 minutes to 15 minutes to ourselves. Any comments? Guys, if you don't talk, I'll go ahead. Okay, if you don't say anything, that's fine. I'll go ahead because I don't have so much time. Okay, what if the cost of breast milk showed up? This is a wee story. And this wee story started with a question. It says, did you know that in some places in Europe, mother breast milk contains persistent harmful chemicals? And someone would be wondering, like, what do you mean by that? Like, breast milk, chemicals. And then if you observe here, we didn't use E, we used 3. That is to also ensure that we are not violating rules from all this, what do you call it? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but the same way you can write sex online, you can write die, all those things, just to be very clear. This is deep, yeah. So if you see, now this story it's a wee story, so you can see how it's presented here nicely with pictures. So if you are aiming for a good way to tell a blog, this is what you should look out for on LinkedIn. You tag organizations, you tag the people you are talking about, you put some nice pictures, you give it some good caption, etc. So it started by saying, for decades, people living next to incineration plants have raised alarms about toxic emissions and air pollution. You see, we are talking about something. People are still wondering, the breast milk, right? Then we continue, and about being trapped in decade-long contracts that demand a constant flow of trash to feed those burning beasts. The challenge has been enormous. Europe has built, and in many places overbuilt. It continues. This is where the Zero Waste Europe story begins, right? So we are talking about an organization, but before we spoke about the organization, you can see how we went back and forth. I wish I could read this last place to you. So here it says, Europe had built, and in many places overbuilt, incinerators, undermining circularity and locking municipalities into producing more trash just to keep the flames alive. This is the reality of waste incineration. Long sold as clean, secular, and necessary. This is where the story of Zero Waste Europe begins. 20 years ago, organizations and activists came together around a simple radical belief: burning waste is not the solution. Now imagine your organization, and you are telling the story of your organization. What was the problem happening in your community before your organization decided to intervene? And this is how the story came in. But the beginning must capture your audience. Because I think in some of the sessions, I heard people asking questions around, how do you compete with, what should I call them? Like bloggers, already existing bloggers who write a lot. How do you compete with those narratives? It's to adjust and adapt. And to also find the best way to convey information, and ask yourself, if I saw this information, would I read it? Very, very important. Now we continue with the slide. I think you are sharing the slide here. So I think, was it Enam who gave a very lovely response to the different types of storytelling. She spoke about the before and after. There is also the data and evidence-based storytelling, but for time we'll not go through much of them. But here, if you see can you go backward? The last statement said the layman's numbers. For data and evidence-based storytelling, what BISA has used to identify it is the layman's numbers. What do you mean by that? How do you tell a story that is filled with data and evidence? This earlier of this year, BISA was invited to the Philippines to support around 49 organizations and storytelling. And what we did was to separate these organizations according to different storytelling formats and help them define or design the story. And one of the stories they developed was this data evidence-based storytelling, and they were talking about an island that every year the island was not attracting tourism, but later on they created so much visibility that the island started generating a lot of visibility, so it started attracting tourism. And when it attracted tourism, there was the inflow of waste management, and the person said they produce around 500 tons of waste weekly. All those numbers can bore people, but then I then told them to say it this way: they produce around 500 tons of waste equivalent to 50 elephants. So now imagine, so these are layman's words that, as much as you are talking about huge numbers, but you are equivalating it to things that people can easily relate to. And that is how that kind of storytelling works. You can read more on the Cha-Cha-Cha guide. So these are some of the blog stories that we have on our blogs. You can go and look at them. Next slide, please. So we've chosen now, choose your format. What's the format of story you want to tell? Please write it down somewhere, because you are going to create a story today before we leave. The first thing was, which impact pathway? What do you want your story to do? You want to create visibility? For me, I choose visibility. The next thing now, I'm choosing what type of story do I want to tell. I want to tell a personal story. I've chosen that. So what have you chosen? You can put it in the chat. Now it's time to create the stories. Before you create the stories, you've already highlighted one thing that happened to you, one moment that struck you in the past. I love that story of Blackses that said he was standing in a landfill surrounded by smoke with waste. I'm just imagining myself saying that. I was once in Australia, and that was how I started my presentation. I had a screen filled with waste. It was a big, large screen. I just kept a picture of waste behind me, and I stood there and I said, 15 years ago, my house was situated at this very point, with waste surrounding me, with smokes. My mom would go to the market to get discarded proteins just to come and cook for us. Today, we lead the biggest waste worker movement in Ghana, scaling it from one country to another. And that was how I started my presentation. So think about this. Now think about the topic that you want to tell. Just write something small down. You can write around 5 topics. Sometimes it helps. And then later you can choose one of these topics. So write this down. What do you want to talk about? Just write it down. There's a lovely story around build aluminium can. Sorry about the typo. Is build aluminium can under my grandfather's foot. And this is a story I supported one of the NGOs we worked with in the Philippines to generate. It's a personal story. If I tell you the story, you'll be wowed. And he was even surprised he was able to tell that story. And that was just from him remembering one moment that changed his life. And what did he say? He remembered that he always goes to visit his uncle. And every day he visits his uncle, the uncle will take him around the stadium to pick aluminium cans that the audience have finished drinking. And when he puts the can on the ground, he uses his leg to hit the aluminium can so that it compresses the waste and he can put it in his bag. And that's what he remembered at the age of 10. And that's how he created the story. And from this story, Personal Angle was able to talk about the organization, now how he's supporting waste speakers to do the work they are doing today, how he's able to create an association for them, how they are able to support the government. And you can imagine this flow. My slide, please. So please just have this in mind. And the next slide. Next slide, please. Yes, so now we are going to build the core of our story, and then after that we put you in the rooms. So remember your moments, remember your tensions, remember your turn, the meaning, and so what. I'll explain this when you come back. But then I want you to go into the room with the thinking of what is the character, the challenge, and the change. The who, where, what, cha, cha, cha. Who, where, what, cha, cha, cha. Do you remember this? Who, where, what, cha, cha, cha. And then you also reflect on what is that one thing that captivated you. And then you look at what type of story you want to tell, and then which impact pathway you want it to influence. So now I would allow the team to put you in a breakout room, 2 in each breakout room, to just have this lovely discussion. Oh, I see some chats whilst you are going. Okay, whilst you are going there, please let me know when the rooms are open. I think it's a very strong topic because it does something that effective environmental storytelling should do. It makes a large technical issue feel personal. Thank you. Okay, I see Black says visibility personal. Please, the Egypt people on the call, are you good? Is the translation good for you? Please give us a thumbs up if it's good for you. 1 minute. Any thumbs up from the Egypt people? Go ahead.
I do believe we know the Arabic captions, so we're now working with the written English captions, and it's working okay.
So you're saying that you're working with the English captions?
Yes. The Arabic captions started working right now.
Okay, I don't know, but I know it's working because if you check the screen, I think your settings side, and then you go to, okay, I think this is now looking different on my, but I'm sure you see it because I'm using multiple screens and I don't want to just get confused on the screen, but I'm sure you see it.
It's okay, thank you.
Awesome. So yes, we'll be rounding up soon, but we'll just give you like 10 minutes to go into the room if you don't mind, to develop this blog, and we come back and then we are done. Please, if you don't mind, can you give me some 15 minutes for us to round up? So please put them in the room now and then we can finalize. Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question. Should I wait until after the discussion?
Okay, maybe when we come back, let's come back and you ask the question.
Okay.
Thank you. So you can join the rooms 2 in 1 and you have your conversation and you come back. So create your stories. Welcome. Yes, so maybe we'll just take 2 to 3 outline or stories, and then we can do some last things and then we leave for the day. Okay, anyone wants to share the story that you've developed?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, I'll keep the second person. So Gloria, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for this opportunity. Okay, so I'm sharing the story from the perspective of my colleague. In her country, Egypt, there is gender violence, and it makes the women not to be able to share what they are going through, or keep it to themselves. And this young lady has been fighting these more like shameful, sort of, it's shameful because society does not allow us to speak out, and but the drive to speak out has always been there. And what would she do? So she decided to disguise as a man just to speak out. So in the place of disguising as a man, she just tried to defend the women. It looked unusual, but she was able to pass her story. She was able to pass her message and create advocacy, and a kind of advocated for women to be given giving attention to or regarding gender violence. It's not as if it is soft at the moment, but at least somebody has started picking up. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now let's give some feedback to this. Wow, it's a mind-blowing story. I can just think of a topic right now for that story, but I don't want to say it. So can the participants write a topic for this story in the chat? Let's see what topic we can propose for this story. But then in your story, I had the challenge, I had the character, the women, and I had the change that happened. So through her interventions, but I'm struggling a little bit with the change that happened. Through the advocacy she was doing, what did the women do? She needs to polish that place very well. What was the change that happened? What was the impact that happened? And now I love the fact that you also took into consideration the whom, where, what. The where you spoke in Egypt. I love that. The whom, you pointed back to the women, and then the what is gender-based violence. So it's good, but then at the end of the day, your beginning of your story should link to the end of your story. So if you started in Egypt, women face gender violence, the ending of your story should be now, through the work we are doing, through blah, 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 women are no longer facing gender-based violence. There should be a closed loop. Okay, we don't have so much time, but I'm going to try to pick people's story as much as I can. Let's go to Miles. Oh, I see. Was it Miles or Miles?
Malaise.
Yeah.
I wanted to add that the women I deal with in workshop were unable to break free from the circle of violence.
I didn't. So, the circle of violence. Okay. We're unable to break free from the circle of violence. I wanted to add that the women. Can you come again with that statement? I think I missed that. Malaz?
Hi.
Yes, were you referring to the previous story?
Yes.
Okay. So you are seeing through
She's my colleague. She's my colleague. So we didn't get to, because of time, we didn't get to finish our story. But I think she's adding the end to it because I had to make up just so that we could have a perfect story to present.
Okay. The story of violence. Okay, thank you very much for that. Now move on to Joseph. Joseph, please. Sorry, Joseph, before you go, Mohammed. Is it Ahmed or Mohammed? Your hands are up. You were in the room with me. You can go ahead because I see your hands up first. So please pardon me for not calling you.
Yeah. Thank
Please
you
go ahead.
for letting me share our story. We had May. May, she's a young girl in secondary school. She goes to her school every day. She's getting lazy to get to her school. She's suffering from sunburning and sun heat. By luck and by chance, Plant a Tree organization get planting 2,000 trees beyond the Kafr Sheikh city. Fortunately for her, by accident, the street that she's taking to get to her school planted with a variety of trees. When she walks, she gets a cool breeze and cool air. She sees a variety of trees, variety of colors of flowers, and she heard the voice of birds. She's loved what she sees and what she sees. She talks about the project for her friends and teacher, for her family too. And encourage them to plant trees, like Plant a Tree organization, right? We also encourage you to help May and her friends to encourage them to continue her education and get a more trees to plant in Kafir City.
Thank you so much for that. This is a lovely story.
Thank you.
And I can just imagine the topic of the story, but you can drop the topic of your story in the chat. Maya and the trees. That's what I'm just thinking in my head. And I love the call to action. You advocating for people to support Maya. That's a good call to action. In our stories, let's add call to action. It can be to government, it can be to the people, it can even be to the beneficiaries. Now, Joseph.
Yes, I'll try to be very brief. Mine is basically a personal experience. And so this happened when I got my first employment opportunity, my first formal job. And why I choose to talk about it, it's because it actually built up from a point of realization to the point of now direct impact. So you find that it was a point where you find I found this job. I had no idea what I wanted. I think it's a fog that most of us would experience, because then you've just left school, you have no idea what you need to do. So then there I get this employment opportunity. Fast forward, I get, my first promotion within the 6 months of being employed. But then it came with a catch. Always having that growth mindset going. So, consistently asking yourself, where do you want to be next after this? So then with all this desire, all this curiosity of really realizing that I would want to continue growing, really enabled me to remain grounded and be a problem solver, be a critical thinker, and have the growth mindset. So because of this, a couple of more promotions followed. But then all that this did, it prepared me to become a leader, which has somewhat paved way into even how I live my life up today. Now, yes, with all these promotions and all that, I had to leave the employment, unfortunately, but it did not happen in a good way. I got retrenched because the company was downsizing. But see, this is one person, young lad who's just finished high school, finished school, has no idea what they wanted in life, but then you've gotten a job, and then this job that gave you a foundation is now being taken away. Now what? So I knew the market we're in as Africans. Employment is a challenge. So I said, instead of wasting my time, I trust the process that I've had. I trust the experience that I've had. Why don't I create this employment opportunity? With the learnings I've had over the years, with how my character, my skill sets got to be refined over the time, I found myself to really establish different opportunities, personally identify myself as an entrepreneur. With my learnings, I started businesses, of course, and through my businesses, I'll speak of one. I'm not marketing myself, but it's for the purpose of just this story. So one of my business is a marketing consultancy. It's a marketing consultancy where I've worked with multiple startups, guiding them. And because of this, you find that they've either been able to expand and created an additional employment opportunity. This talks into direct and indirect, maybe contracting additional vendors or getting consultants, etc. So now, basically, because of the experience that I had, realizing the pain points that, young people finish school, you don't know what to do, but then eventually you say maybe self-employment is the thing. So I thought, why don't I start a startup, rather a marketing consultancy that only works with startups? You have no idea, but you want to feel relevant. But I want to start a business. So here you are, a business consultant that can work with you. So that's basically the story.
Okay, thank you for sharing this. We can have some refinements. The beginning, you can shorten it a bit so that it takes us to a challenge, because if you get to the challenge, you hook us more in your story than for you to give us a lot of preambles. You get me? And then find a way to connect your beginning to your end. You understand? And I do. It took a personal narrative, and at the end of the day, I'm asking myself, what can I take from this story? So I'm thinking I should take that. We should, as a normal person, you should keep on persevering, right? So I would suggest that in the future, you start your presentation with, I was downsized, like there's a statement around you terminating your job. Start with that and hook your audience, and let's see what goes after that. Okay, we don't have so much time. Blackses, can you please shorten your story for us? I plead with you.
Thank you. I'll be brief as possible. Thank you, Betty. On me, I was happy and delighted to be with Rana Ragi, and we had 5 titles and we chose one, which were, the title is From Waste Picker to Climate Leader. Starting with the question, Rana proposed that when we're opening the story, we should start with the question. And the idea behind it, it's a hook that she said, what if the solution of waste, what if the solution to climate change is already buried in what we call waste? That was the hook. And then at that point, she paused for a second to let the audience think. The story is of personal narrative. That is my story. And I introduced myself at this part. And I also came to introduce Blackses so that people are able to understand about Blackses. On number 3 on the story, we go to the moment, whereby the moment is a part that I'll never forget what happened. This is whereby I say that of the one morning before sunrise at the dump site, there was smoke in the air, heavy trucks arriving after another, and blah, 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 continuing due to essence of time. And then we ended up to the point of realization, which is the turning point of the entire story. So after these challenges and this part of everything, I realized that everyone else called waste was actually feeding families, creating jobs, and protecting the environment. The essence of all this reached us to a conflict in the story about whereby we saw the sad part. The sad part was that the society saw us as part of problem instead of part of the solution. So in the society, as people see dirt and dump sites, they relate it to different things that are being profiled differently. In our story, we always talk about the transformation, about the part that we realized change, and how I saw myself. Instead of only collecting recyclables, I started asking, how can we organize, how can we advocate, and how can people see the value of waste pickers? And that's the question eventually that led to creation of Blackses. So at the end of the day, the lesson that we learned from it is that Blackses exist because of that one moment. It reminds me every day that one material is waste until we decide it has no value, and no human being should never be treated as disposable.
Wow, that's a lovely story. I love how you connected the beginning to the end. I love the interplay of the character, the challenge, the changes. I did not hear where, the whom, where, what. The where it's happening. This story is being told. Don't forget to add the location the story is being told as well. And I will end here. I just want to thank you all for your time. We had some other things to do, but maybe a next mentorship session, if I have the opportunity, I'll take you through. I'll hand over now to the BISA team. Thank you, Lydia.